So, a short time ago, I was working in a retail store called New Look in central London. And when I got the job now, I was kind of like, oh, you know what? Strictly business. I ain't going to fall for anybody. Ain't nobody. Well, I'm not going to say nobody ain't going to fall for me, but I ain't going to fall for nobody. It's going to be strictly friendship and business. Nothing more than that. But then this fine little Latina girl with the nice curvy body and her long dark hair and the booty that was so on point now. Oh my gosh, honestly. I just see her and I'm like, all that logic that I had just gone out the window. I was just like, you know what? Scrap my rules. Scrap my rules. I need to try and get this. But I know, I mean, even at the time I knew of knowing her, I knew she had a boyfriend. Now, for the sake of the video, let's just call her Jess. Now, me and Jess now, I'd known her for about 6 months or so, and we gotten talking and everything. Now we really got along when we worked together now, and I knew she had a boyfriend, so I didn't really make much of a move on her. It was always just like whenever we saw each other at work, now we'd always just say hi, how are you, what you been up to, yada yada yada, just general conversation really. And then she comes into work one day and she's got this really upset look on her face, and I'm like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she just walks past me and doesn't say nothing. So I go into the stock room and I'm like, "What's up? What's going on? What's wrong?" And she tells me that she found out that her boyfriend had cheated on her, and I was just like, "Whoa, okay." I don't really know what to say really. I'm sorry to hear that. But inside my mind, I was like, yes, thank God, time for me to swoop, time for me to slide in there quick time. But yeah, so I just said the typical stuff. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll find somebody new someday. Don't worry, you're a pretty girl. You'll find somebody. You ain't got to worry. She's like, yeah, I know. Da 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 da. The usual chat now. So another day comes along now. About a week later now, we're talking and the conversation comes up about different restaurants that we've been to. And she tells me that she's never actually been to Tinseltown. I was like, oh, I haven't been to Tinseltown either. Why don't we arrange to meet up and we can just go there together? And she's like, what, on a date? I'm like, well, call it what you will, but we're two friends. We're just meeting up, just hanging out, really. Call it what you will. She's like, oh, okay, cool. That sounds good. Sounds like fun. So we exchanged numbers and we arranged to meet up for this date. So about a week later or so. So the day comes now, and just before, I think it was a day before we were supposed to meet up. Me being the scrimper slash cheapskate that I am, I saw a Groupon voucher for a restaurant that I had been to a few years ago with my family for my birthday, and I really liked it there. So I saw the Groupon now, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can go there again. It was for a meal, all you can eat meal for two for a set price and a drink as well. And I was like, okay, cool. That sounds good. We can do that. So purchased a Groupon now, and I text her and I'm like, yo, so change of plan. We're not going to be going to Tinseltown anymore. We're going to be going to this Brazilian all-you-can-eat place. And she's like, oh, okay, then that sounds fine. So the day comes now. It's probably about a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, about 6 o'clock. We arrange to meet. Now we meet up with each other and we get underground now. And the worst thing that could ever happen to me just started happening. My body started to break out in the cold sweat. My whole body, I started sweating from my head, from my neck to my under my arms, my legs, my whole body just completely shut down on me, and I just started sweating uncontrollably. It was horrible, and I was like, oh my gosh, no, why now? I didn't have no tissue. I didn't have a cloth or anything to wipe myself down with. And the whole time we were underground, bearing in mind the journey from where we were to the place we need to get to was about 45-minute journey underground. And the train was packed. This was at rush hour as well. So the whole time we're underground, I'm just sweating. I'm just like, oh, I don't even want to look her in the eye. I just hold my head down. I'm like, oh my gosh, why? And she's just asking me, yo, you're right. I'm like, yeah, but I'm saying this from my head to the side, not even trying not to make eye contact with this girl now. It was just so awkward. So that's the first thing that happened to me. Now, as we're making the way to the restaurant now, we get there, and we're talking, just having general conversation, just banter, making each other laugh and whatnot. And I think I must have mentioned something to her, and I'm pretty sure it was something to do with her intelligence or something along those sort of lines. Like I must have called her dopey or something like that. Like she's just not stupid, but I just said she's a bit ditzy, and she did not take too kindly to that at all. Me personally, I just thought it was a bit of banter. I didn't mean anything by it, but she didn't take to that too well at all. So that was the second mistake I made. Now, a few minutes later, after that, or about 5 minutes of awkwardness, she is asking me a question, and I've got food in my mouth at the time. So she asks me a question, and as I'm just giving her an answer, I've literally a piece of rice flew right out of my mouth and landed directly in her eyeball. Just let that soak in for a minute. A piece of rice flew out of my mouth and directly into her eyeball. And I just saw her pick up the cloth and just wipe it out. I was like, oh my gosh. Are you serious? Like, for real, what is going on right now? What is wrong with me right now? This was absolutely ridiculous. I just felt so awkward. It was the grossest, most worst thing I could have ever done. As soon as it happened, I was just like, let's just get out of here. So I just finished. We both just finished eating, and we just literally just left and went our separate ways. And well, it's fair to say I never really heard from her again, to be honest. But I mean, whenever we saw each other in work again, we just acted casual. Really, just said hi, how are you to each other, and just general stuff really. But it was fair to say the chemistry was never the same again. But yeah, I mean, that's always crazy. That was possibly, I would say, that is the worst first date I've ever had, for real, guys. But yeah, hopefully that won't happen to me again. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the story. I tried to cut it down as short as possible. If you did, hit the like button. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, I hope to be bringing out more videos really soon as well for you guys. So yeah, as always, I'm your boy R2J Fizzle Dizzle, signing out. Peace.